spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo on there could be a benefit, but have they kind of burned that bridge?
I will say this. Gardner Minshew is the best backup in the NFL.
I love Gardner. Welcome to 30 Minutes of Football with legit football, or an hour of football on Thursdays, because that's right. We are taking your questions, primarily fantasy football, but feel free to throw in some NFL questions. Feel free to throw in some random questions. We don't care. If it's in the chat and our producer Anthony stars it, we will get to it. I'm here with my man Rich Joe Dice, the Pro Football Demon. Rich, how are you feeling heading into Week 11, dude?
I'm feeling okay. Anthony's got me a little thrown off because he's got me on the wrong side again. I'm used to having you on the left.
That's easily fixed.
There we go. Oh, close to it.
Okay, Anthony, you do it. I started to do it, and then I think you did it.
There we go.
There we go. Let's
That's
keep
perfect.
things comfortable for the don't throw us off,
Yeah,
Anthony.
don't throw me.
All right. This NFL season throws us off enough as it is. The Dolphins and the Jets are first and second in the AFC East. If that is not enough to throw you off, I don't know what is. I saw on Twitter, Rich, you said something about like we're apparently you and I are in a fight.
We might be
I
on
didn't
the
know about
outs.
it. Okay, let's
Hang on.
find out why and see if it's something I can mend.
Okay. Well,
I have a feeling I know what it is, but
I've
go
been
ahead.
catching your Friday shows, and I'd be okay with a little good-natured ribbing. I'm fine with that. But the fact that you're doing it with a Patriots fan hurts my heart. It's a Dolphins fan and a Patriots fan teaming up against me. I've never claimed to be great at picking teams against the spread. I am historically bad at that. But yeah.
To be fair, I didn't know he was a Patriots fan. I did not know before I brought him on. And in his defense, he's more of a Brady guy. I don't know if that helps. So he likes the Bucks now. No, it doesn't help. It doesn't help either.
And he wears Patriots gear on the show, so that should have given
does.
you a heads up.
But he's worn like a Falcons jersey before. But yes, I missed that in the job interview. I'll take the L on that. Did not know that I was bringing a Patriots fan on. But I guess we just need a Bills fan in the legit football realm, and then we've got the whole AFC East.
And they can team up with me, and we'll be like the Mega Powers, Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage with that slow handshake. Go up against you guys. But
there you go. Yeah. I thought you were going to call me out because I thought you saw my picks, and I didn't pick the Jets this week, so I thought you saw that on Twitter. But I guess I just gave you more reason to. we're on the outs. I have to mend that, and that's okay. That's on me. All right, this is our Thursday Fantasy Live Question Show. We've got our producer, Anthony Wayner, behind the scenes, who's going to star the questions as they come in so that we see them. So, as always, if your question didn't get answered, it's Anthony's fault. I'm actually looking, Anthony, at the chat right now, and I don't see anything starred.
He's getting to it now. I see a couple things.
Okay. Now he heard me. Now I've woken him up. I'm ready to go, Rich. Are you ready to dive into our questions? Great.
Let's do it.
1 hour of football starts now. We've got the timer up. I've got the schedule handy, Rich, so if we need to look at the schedule for any of these questions, we can do that. But let's go ahead and jump into our favorite early question asker to kick things off, and that is, of course, JDragon91. Pick 2 for flex. Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Terrace Marshall Jr. We're picking 2 of these guys.
Okay, right off the bat, I'm going Cortland Sutton. I don't love the Broncos passing game. The fact that Jerry Jeudy is out, and the
KJ
fact that
Hamler.
Yeah, KJ Hamler's out. And that none of these other guys jump off the page for me. I'm going Sutton in this situation. Probably going to go. Deontay Johnson has the highest floor, I think, of the remaining 2. I'm taking Terrence Marshall out of there. But DJ Moore would have the highest ceiling because of the.
But he did well with PJ Walker. Now we've got Baker again.
Yeah.
Like, does that factor into it?
It does. It does
Kinda
for
has
me.
to.
That's why I would go Deontay Johnson. I mean, he scored roughly in the area of about 9 points. That's what he's typically good for, anywhere between 7 and 9 points. You want to avoid that 5 points and under, and I think Deontay Johnson can do that.
Yeah, I'm actually agreeing with you here. Cortland Sutton, not that you and I have been very clear about how we feel about the Broncos offense, but with Judy banged up, with KJ Hamler not in, they had to return to Kendall Hinton last week. Sutton actually had a decent game, so I think he'll get the volume. They're playing the Raiders, who are the worst defense in the entire NFL. So Sutton's a good play. And of the three that are remaining, Panthers playing the Ravens. And on top of that, they've got Baker at quarterback. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson. Jay Dragon, as always, with multiple questions to start. Will Deebo Samuel produce with Christian McCaffrey getting a lot more of the snaps? In my second league, it's between him, DJ, quote, needs more. I like that. And Devin Duvernay.
In this situation, I wouldn't hate it if you went Duvernay. I know they're trying. It seems like they're going to start limiting CMC's touches a little bit, right? And
Elijah Moore had more carries than CMC last week.
I think because CMC's injury history, I could see games where if they take an early lead, where they don't really involve him much because they want to save him. They want to keep him fresh for the playoffs and everything. Yep. So. Yep. Will Deebo see more because of that? Perhaps. Deebo certainly has the higher ceiling, but Duvernay is a guy that we've seen, he can get in the end zone. He had like 2 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. So I'd feel safer about going Deebo, but I do think I wouldn't hate it if you started Duvernay.
I would go with the safer pick Deebo as well. Duvernay is at least in the consideration. He's a boomer bust candidate. Mark Andrews is on pace to return, which means it's going to be the Mark Andrews show in the pass game, but I think they're going to turn to the run game against a bad Panthers defense. That's what Baltimore wants to do anyway. So I'm still lean Deebo Samuel this week against the Cardinals in Mexico, by the way. Which is an interesting little wrinkle. Yes, Deebo hasn't produced with CMC in there. There's just so many weapons. I actually mentioned when they signed CMC that when they traded for him, that it's going to be hard to predict between Ayuk, Deebo, and Kittle who produces in the pass game. But I still like him more than DJ Moore with Baker and Devin Duvernay as far as a safer pick.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, J Dragon 91. I am very hurt at tight end. I just had Ertz and Goddard get hurt. Ouch. Juwan Johnson, which actually I think he's tight end 11 right now, from Saints. David Njoku, who looks like he is still banged up and might miss this week. Dawson Knox and Greg Dulcich are available. Who should I choose?
I'm actually going with Juwan Johnson over Kyle Pitts this week. I cannot afford to have another 3-point week, and Juwan Johnson has actually looked pretty good. If I feel better with Andy Dalton at quarterback, having Juwan Johnson in, and he's starting, so I feel pretty confident with Juwan in.
Yeah, I would. Dulcich is a consideration, especially as we said against that Raiders defense. If there's a team that this Broncos offense could produce against, hopefully it's this bad Raiders defense, especially with all the turmoil going on there in Vegas. Njoku is the highest ceiling, but he's injured. Juwan Johnson going against the Rams, I'd probably roll with Johnson. I think he actually might have a higher ceiling than Dulcich right now.
Yeah.
All right, J Dragon, as always, thank you for getting your questions in early. See if you could beat J Dragon next week, guys. That's although next week's Thanksgiving, we'll have to figure that out. We'll do something. Maybe move it to Wednesday or something. All right, Thermal XQ. I don't know who to start, Watson or Myers or Johnson. So I'm guessing the Christian Watson, Jacoby Myers, or Deontay Johnson, I guess.
Probably Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
I might actually roll the dice with Christian Watson here because
He's the fun choice.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 touchdowns. We know Aaron Rodgers will just feed a guy if he has faith in him. Looked like he may have had faith in him. I don't know that the Allen Lazard factor, if he's even playing. Is he playing tonight?
Lazard is playing, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Randall Cobb is back as well.
Randall Cobb is back.
Yeah.
Watson is a physical freak, though. I mean, more so than either of those guys. And if Rodgers feels confident in him, remember, Aaron Rodgers is a guy who wants to make sure he looks good. And if he has faith in Christian Watson to ball out like he did last week, he'll just keep throwing to him. So he's got an amazing ceiling.
Yeah, I think that Jets-Patriots game is going to be low scoring regardless of who ends up winning. So, yes, Jacoby Myers is a nice floor for PPR, but he doesn't have a high ceiling. Deontay Johnson going up against a very tough Bengals defense. They're allowed, I think, the 9th fewest points to opposing receivers in fantasy. So why not roll the dice with Christian Watson? Have some fun. This guy just scored 3 touchdowns. Is he going to do that again? No, but he's clearly, that is the game that won Rodgers' trust. And trust is huge in this offense with Aaron Rodgers. He needs to know that you're going to catch the ball. And Watson still had some drops. But they won that game against his former coach, and he scored 3 touchdowns. Watson is going to get more opportunity this week. I would roll with Watson.
They need to win this game, too.
Yes.
This is a must-win.
Aaron Jones was quoted as saying every game's a playoff game to us at this point,
Yeah.
which is true. It's basically win or you're eliminated from contention. Jones Bones. I love some of the names on here. Boyd or Josh Jacobs at flex? So Tyler Boyd or Josh Jacobs?
Man, I tend to lean running back in these situations.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs for that reason.
Yeah, agreed. Tyler Boyd they're facing the Steelers, but the Steelers is an entirely different defense with TJ Watt in there. We saw it last week. Granted, it was the Saints, but there's just something about that the Alex Highsmith on the other end had a 90-plus PFF grade when he didn't get all the attention. Minka Fitzpatrick is on track to be back this game. And I'm picking the Raiders to win. I'm probably going to regret it. But one of the 2 victories this year was over the Broncos earlier this year. So I think that they'll turn to Josh Jacobs. Hopefully Derek Carr's tears motivates the team. I don't know. Maybe they'll make him more depressed. But in general, I agree with Rich. Go with the running back. Jacobs has been a top 10 running back when the Raiders are actually cranking. All right, let's go to one of your favorites, XR.
Fish.
I traded Josh Allen, the Bills defense, and James Robinson for Stephon Diggs and Geno Smith, win or loss. I have Justin Fields as my quarterback. Okay, that's important context. Also, early notice me, Fad. I'm going to call you out of the typo there, but we know you mean Dad.
What's up, Fish? I notice you. Because you have Justin Fields, I would say this is a win because you just grabbed a stud receiver essentially for a defense and James Robinson. I mean, I might start Justin Fields over Josh Allen with the way he's been playing. He's got such a high rushing upside. So I like this.
I mean, yeah, because if you're starting, and I'm assuming this is a 1 QB league, Fish. So if you're starting Fields, you're not starting Geno or Allen at that point. So it's basically just, and defense to me is, I'll stream defenses all day long. So then it's James Robinson for Stephon Diggs. That's kind of a slam dunk for me. I love that. Now, if this is super flex, that's different. Or if it's 2 QB, that's different. Because if you can roll out there with Justin Fields and Josh Allen, that's entirely, but I'm assuming we're going for 1 QB here. Feel free to let us know later, Fish, if it is 2 QB. Murr, the Impractical Joker. What's up, Murr? Thanks for being in the chat. I think this is the first time we've seen you in there. JT, Amon-Ra, and Devontae Smith for Henry, A.J. Brown, and Keenan Allen. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, and I talked a little bit about this. I saw this on TikTok. I like the Henry, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen side because to me, you have 3 starters there when Keenan Allen's playing. And believe it or not, I have more faith in Henry than I do JT at the moment. I know JT's coming off a big game, but I don't know what to expect going forward. I don't know if we're going to revert back to what we saw earlier. AJ Brown, aside from this past week, has been a stud, and Keenan Allen, when he plays, has been a stud. So I think you're getting 3 quality starters for really one. When Amon-Ra play, it's a mismatch of guys who've been pretty inconsistent.
On its face, this is actually a pretty even trade. The one thing to consider, Keenan Allen is practicing in a limited fashion. The one time he came back previously, he played the first half. He got like 2 targets and that was it. I'm worried that he is going to come back slowly when he does come back. Maybe he never gets back to full strength. This hamstring thing has been bothering him for like 7 weeks now.
Yeah.
But he has a better floor and ceiling than Devontae Smith when he's healthy. So it's like you're paying for that upside. Like if Allen comes back healthy, that's the better side of the trade. If he doesn't, then by default, you're down to Henry and A.J. Brown for JT, Amon-Ra, and Devontae Smith. So I guess it's all about if you want to roll the dice. On paper, the trade is very equal. It comes down to if you believe Allen is going to come back healthy and come back producing. I'll say this, Herbert is desperately in need of his pass catchers to get back. So I think he's going to feed Allen and Mike Williams once they do come back. So there is that upside to consider. Mixed Softball 20. I feel like we got really good names tonight.
We
Mix
do.
softball 20 with a picture of him playing softball. Appropriate way to stay in brand. AJ Dillon or Gus Edwards at flex.
Is Gus Edwards fully healthy, or do you know anything about that?
He is practicing in a limited fashion. John Harbaugh expects him and Mark Andrews to play this week, so it's looking like he will be the starting running back on Sunday against the Panthers.
Then I am going Gus Edwards. AJ
Yeah.
Dillon has been doing nothing, and I don't see why he would all of a sudden do something.
And Aaron Jones has been playing great, so it's like they've actually been reducing his workload. And I traded for AJ Dillon at the end of last year in a dynasty league. I needed him to produce. I'm the first to tell you he's not. It's not working unless Aaron Jones actually missed a game. Dillon doesn't have a lot of value right now, especially if Rodgers starts to connect with these receivers and starts to get the pass game going more. Whereas Gus Edwards, the times he's been in, he's actually looked really good, surprisingly coming off that ACL injury. So yeah, I'm going Gus Edwards there for sure, especially with the matchup they have against the Panthers. Fish gets in another question. You think the Broncos are beating the Raiders without Jerry Jeudy?
After what we saw of the Raiders last week, it wouldn't shock me if anybody beat the Raiders. So I think it's absolutely possible. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever.
I mean, if the Colts with Jeff Saturday and his first ever a head coach for like 6 days prior to this, he tweeted out how bad the team he was playing I mean, come on, this was a recipe for the Raiders to get back on track, and they didn't. That being said, I picked the Raiders. That's how much I don't believe in this Broncos offense.
They're losing games by a score. Is that right? You know, so it's hard to say. They're not a terrible team.
Right.
They're just not finishing games. They have a bunch of slot receivers, including Devontae Adams.
Well, there's a couple factors here. One, I think we're seeing that Josh McDaniels is not good as a head coach. This is not his first rodeo. We've seen this story play out before. We know how this movie ends. It doesn't end well. And two, they have a dreadful defense. But their offense is really good when it's cranking. When Devontae Adams is going, he's, a top 3 wide receiver, unstoppable. When Josh Jacobs is going, he's a top 5 running back this season.
Yeah.
This team is able to produce. I think if they get a lead like they have, and they've blown a bunch of them, the Broncos aren't good enough to come back from it. And the Broncos defense, actually, it was their secondary that lost them the game last week against the Titans. Ryan Tannehill throwing to Westbrook Akine for 2 touchdowns. So it's like even their defense is showing cracks. They don't have Bradley Chubb anymore. I'm going Raiders. Yeah, with
Henry
or without
Ruggs,
Jerry Jeudy.
I mean, they really miss somebody who can take off the top of a defense.
Yeah.
That is hurting their offense badly.
Yeah, no Waller, no Renfro. There definitely could be using more weapons there. But yeah, I'm still going Raiders. That's probably gonna bite me. My picks have not been going great lately either. Just so we're all out there.
No
in the
better
open.
than mine.
Tanner's crushing us both. So let's just say that. Mixed softball 20 again. Pitts or Foster Moreau this week. He just lost Ertz and Goddard. There's a couple of you guys that lost Ertz and Goddard. A feel for you. Pitts or Moreau, Rich?
I have been going Kyle Pitts every week because I love the upside, but you mentioned it, I think with Tanner actually and on Friday. How do you're missing, he's getting targeted 7 times, and with that wingspan, how are you missing him? He's just getting missed. Like, these are horrible passes. So it's not that I don't have faith in Kyle Pitts. I don't have faith in the ball getting to him. So for that, like I said, I'm going Juwan Johnson over him. I would go Foster Moreau too.
Yeah, the question comes down to Marcus Mariota. Like, we don't know what Desmond Ridder is looking like at practice, but the fact that Arthur Smith won't even consider putting him in, I don't know what that says. Arthur Smith benched Marcus Mariota in Tennessee for Ryan Tannehill. He's not like super attached to this guy.
Right.
I'm a little lost by that, but he is a liability. I mentioned that on Friday's show, and that affects Pitts. Pitts is getting targets now, guys. Early in the season, it was, they're not throwing to him, they're making him block. Well, he is getting thrown to now. He's still not producing because they can't hit him. He's way off target. Mariota is. So Foster Moreau. Hey, let's go all in on the Raiders this week. Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Start Moreau over Kyle Pitts. What a sentence. Braden Goodell. Tony. I'm intrigued by Tony. Just going to throw that out there. Tony or Myers at flex?
I'm going to roll the dice on Tony. His ceiling is so much higher than Jacoby Myers, so I'm going to roll the dice there.
Mecole Hardman was placed on injured reserve today. For those that didn't catch that news, that's one less person to get targets. Juju is still not practicing. He had that concussion. So all of a sudden, Tony in his first debut scores a touchdown. You've got Travis Kelce on his podcast talking about how he can't believe the Giants let him go. Andy Reid, they know what they're doing there in Kansas City. I think they're going to find ways to get him the ball. We mentioned earlier Myers will get volume, but this is a very good Jets secondary. Is Gardner going to be matched up on him at all? That's going to limit that ceiling. I think that is going to be a defensive struggle. Roll the dice on Tony. I like it against this Chargers game. This is a huge game for both teams, Kansas City and LA. I like Kadarius Toney there. I like him in general. I feel like
they also have lost faith in CEH, rightfully so. And
you were right on that. I tried defending CEH. I was wrong. I'll take the L there. Raj Modi, Najee or Deontay?
Najee, because I hate this question, but I'm going to go Najee. I mean, if they have a goal line situation, he's going to likely get the carry. I'm going to go Najee.
Bengals have been, I mentioned earlier in the show, very good against the pass, especially limiting opponents' wide receivers. The Bengals are playing the Steelers this week. Najee actually had his best game last week. 99 yards rushing on 20 carries. Jaylen Warren is getting more involved, but they found a way to get both guys involved, and it resulted in a win against the Saints. So I think we see Mike Tomlin employ that again. The defense is going to be better to put them in better opportunities, and Najee's going to get the goal line work. So just for that reason alone, I'm going to agree with Rich and go with Najee Harris. Have we disagreed tonight? We haven't disagreed tonight,
think so.
Rich. That's a problem. I think I'm trying to make up from getting a Patriots guy. I feel guilty for that. But he's doing a good job, so I got to keep him on.
He is. He's doing a great job.
He's crushing us. Lil Z, should I drop Brady since he's bad this season? No other options. I love this. Just straight to the point. Should I drop this guy?
Guys, when you're on here, you can give us a long question. Let us know who you have. So give us as much data as you can. It's tough. Who do you have at quarterback? Who else would you put in?
I would say we need a little more context there. Do you not have another quarterback? Then no, you shouldn't drop Brady just because he's bad. He's still a quarterback. He's actually been producing okay. He just hasn't gotten touchdowns. That's been the thing. The Bucs offense has moved the ball. I think at one point Brady was second or third in the NFL in passing yards. So it's not production. It's just they're not scoring touchdowns. Although they did look better last week. We saw Julio Jones score a touchdown. We saw Chris Godwin score a touchdown. I think the Bucs are aiming in the right direction. It's all been mental with them. They have the talent. So unless you have a better option, Lil Z, let us know. But yeah, I'm not sure I would drop Brady right now. Should I drop Kupp since he's injured? Now, this is a legitimate question. We don't need another player for this, Rich.
How long do we think he's going to be injured for?
So he's on injured reserve. He had surgery for a high ankle sprain, which is not normal. Normally, it's just rest and recover, but he actually had surgery. That's how bad his injury was. Injured reserve means he misses at least 4 games. So you're talking about week 11, week 12, week 13, week 14. So that's the end of the regular season. Optimistically, he could come back week 5, but a lot of times these are like 4 to 6 weeks. That 6 weeks puts you like basically at the championship game for the fantasy playoffs. And the Rams might not even want to get him back because they're pretty much already out of it. Do they want to get their superstar, rush him back? So I just realized this was trade, not drop. Yes, trade Kupp. Yes.
Oh, trade. Yes. Oh, okay.
Trade. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't even see that.
We both thought it was cut. Now, assuming this isn't dynasty, if this is just redraft, 100% trade him and sell him that. Oh, he'll back for the playoffs and get a nice reward back.
I'll say one thing about dynasty: if you're a rebuilding team and you can get a ton of picks for Kupp or a young player, like if you can get like a Breece Hall and a first rounder for somebody's willing to give you something like that. It's something to consider if it's dynasty, if you're a rebuilding team.
Yeah, and there's some good-looking pieces coming out in the draft as far as, especially in the quarterback class. Obviously, a very good running back. So, yeah, get some picks, get some 2023 draft picks if you can in dynasty. Braden Goodell, Pacheco or Swift at RB2?
I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. I know Pacheco's getting the lion's share of the carries, but they're not really producing anything.
I'll give you a little bit of context there. I haven't made my decision yet, but I want to give you some context. So Pacheco, the Chiefs facing the Chargers. The Chargers are 30th or 31st against the run this season. That has been their biggest Achilles heel. Yes, Pacheco hasn't performed yet, but he's going up against a bad rush defense, and he's the starter now. DeAndre Swift seems to be fully healthy, but they're not. It's very much a split between him and Jamal Williams. Okay, there's your context, Rich.
I think I still feel safer going with Swift.
Yeah.
I've been burned by KC backs since Kareem Hunt. So I think I'm going to go with Swift.
Yeah, I was leaning Swift, even with the. I'm curious. I think I put Pacheco in one of my redraft lineups where I'm like 2-8, and it's like, what, YOLO, might as well. But I think if I'm in a competitive situation and you have a chance at the playoffs, Swift is a better choice. He's got a better floor and a better ceiling from what we've seen so far. Pacheco could be great long term. We know that Swift, even if he gets 8 touches, Swift could turn one of those into a touchdown. We've seen it happen before. So yeah, I'm agreeing.
It's also the passing upside. Pacheco, they don't use in the passing game. Swift could see 6 targets for 18 yards, and you have a nice floor there. So.
And I could see the Chargers putting up some points in a division matchup on Sunday Night Football, and so where the Chiefs have to pass to stay up, where they kind of abandon the running game. So yeah, definitely go Swift.
Should have said since Darrell Williams. That was the last Chiefs running back I trusted.
Darrell Williams. Takedo, shout out Takedo Luna. Brian
no
Robinson.
Jets shots this week. All right, go ahead.
Okay, well, now he's going to put something in there now that you mention it. I think there's a little bit of glutton for punishment coming from Rich over there. Brian Robinson or Christian Watson at flex. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm all in on Watson's ceiling right now. His upside. Like I said, we've seen Aaron Rodgers just hone in on a guy and hyper target him. Could he do that with Watson? I think there's a high likelihood of that. So I don't want to miss out on that upside, and I'm going to roll the dice on that.
I am going to disagree, finally. It's not a slam dunk. And yes, Brian Robinson is splitting carries with Antonio Gibson, but I mentioned how bad the Chargers defense is against the run. Guess who's worse? The Houston Texans, like historically bad. They're on pace to allow something like 3,000 rushing yards. And who did the Texans play this week? The Washington Commanders, who just ran the ball like 40 times against the Eagles, only getting 3.5 yards a carry. Now they get the Texans defense. I think Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are good plays this week. And for that reason alone, Christian Watson, I think, will be more of a deep threat. I think he'll open up things for a Alan Lazard, for even a Randall Cobb. I think you'll see a lot. Those guys really take advantage of the opportunities because defenses can't condense now because Watson is so blazing fast. I like the upside of Watson, but this week particularly, I'm going to go Brian Robinson. Ethan Decker, Herbert or Jones or Cousins? That's crazy that this is even a question. I love pointing these at like Justin Herbert or Daniel Jones, who we had a bet on, assuming he might be on the Dolphins at one point, or Kirk freaking Cousins. It's fun.
And we know it's not Mac Jones, so...
I guess I didn't even consider that would be Mac Jones. Let's assume it's Daniel Jones, unless you tell us otherwise, Ethan.
Man, I might go Kirk Cousins here because he's tied to Justin Jefferson. So Herbert's receiving core is banged up. Daniel Jones does have the rushing floor, but it's the Justin Jefferson factor that leans me towards Cousins.
So the Giants are playing the Lions. Bad defense, but they're not really putting up a lot of... Jones is not putting up a lot of numbers at a quarterback. Yeah. He's putting up kind of a middling numbers. Cousins, they play the Cowboys, and I think this is the game Minnesota finally loses. You guys, if you watch our Game Pick show, you can hear me expand on that tomorrow. I am picking Dallas to win that game. I think the pass rush is going to get to Cousins. They have Jefferson, who's incredible. But I just think Justin Herbert has been good against the Chiefs in the past. I think this is going to be one of those just trading punches type game. I think the Chargers badly need to win this game. If they lose, they're basically the Chiefs have won the AFC West at that point. So even with the injuries, with the injuries, you still have Gerald Everett. You still have Austin Eckler. They'll throw to him 10 times a game. And Herbert still has that rushing ability to, here and again. So maybe it's just my Herbert bias. But so I'm going to go with Herbert. But I could see the play for Cousins. But it's like, if it's that close, am I really going to pick Kirk Cousins over Justin Herbert? I think that's what's getting me there. So I'm going to stick with Herbert. Jamie Jimenez, should I trade away Zeke and Devontae Smith for Savante Adams? Were you doing like a speak to text thing? Devontae Adams and Tony Pollard.
Absolutely. Do it. Do it right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Zeke is, I mean, if the Cowboys know what's good for them, Zeke is now their RB2.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith for Devontae Adams, it's not even close. Adams is yes, slam it. Let's keep it rolling. Cal, thoughts on trading Hopkins and Brian Robinson for Higgins and Hollywood Brown? Hollywood Brown on track to play Monday night in Mexico against the 49ers.
I want to know who your other running backs are. I'm assuming you're pretty good at running back. Need receiver help, which is why you would. I think I would do this if Hollywood Brown's coming back. T. Higgins without Jamar Chase for a little while longer.
We don't know how Hollywood is going to. I mean, theoretically, Hollywood with Hopkins is exciting, but Hopkins gets all the targets.
Yeah.
I don't know what Hollywood's play in Arizona is going to be like with Hopkins also there. But that being said, Brian Robinson, we said he's in a timeshare. I love his play this week, but I don't know if I love him that much going forward. And T. Higgins, as long as Chase is out, high value. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if you're willing to trade Hopkins, you might be if you're willing to trade Hopkins and a running back, you're probably fairly strong at receiver and fairly strong at running back. And then you're grabbing a Hollywood Brown who has a nice upside and a T. Higgins who right now is the wide receiver one for Justin Burrow. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But again, I don't have all the context here in terms of what your team looks like.
Joe Burrow, not Justin Burrow. I had to call you out on
Burrow.
You said Justin Burrow. I couldn't let that one slide, Rich.
Oh, Jesus.
I guess we need more context, Cal. My instinct is actually to hold on to Hopkins and B-Rob because we don't know what we're getting out of Hollywood with Hopkins in that offense. I don't know that this offense is good enough to support multiple receivers, although Rondale Moore has kind of been looking good lately, but that only actually backs up my argument. T. Higgins is great, but Joe Mixon has been showing up. You know, we could see Cincinnati kind of putting more on the run game until they get Jamar Chase back. So, Cal, if you have any additional context, let us know your running back and wide receiver situation. We can address this later. John Kimmo, Swift, Jamal Williams, Christian Kirk for CMC and DK Metcalf.
Christian Kirk.
So basically the Detroit backfield, because you're not starting both those guys, Detroit backfield plus Christian Kirk for CMC and Metcalf.
Oh, man. Wow. It's the CMC being limited, which is the sticking. Because if we didn't have that situation, I would absolutely do this. But
I don't think we're going to see that every week. I think that was game script. I think that Elijah Mitchell is a little bit more of like just kind of pound the ball straight at, which is funny because that's not really his profile, but that's how they used him. Yeah. I think CMC's ceiling is so. We saw CMC's ceiling. He had 3 touchdowns, receiving, throwing, rushing. So that I love that upside. I think he's going to get more opportunities like that. And Metcalf can show he's going to produce with Geno. So I think I'm leaning CMC Metcalf.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
playoffs are coming up. We only got a few more weeks of the regular season. You go for ceiling here. You go for broke. You try to win that title. Yeah. We'll see if we can get to one more question, maybe 2 before the halftime. Joshua Leibowitz, Christian Watson, Allen Lazard, or Allen Robinson?
I'm all in on Christian Watson this week. Again, it's a roll of the dice. I'm not saying, this is definitely going to happen, but I think Rodgers is going to want to make a statement against a pretty good team, and he's not going to be afraid to chuck it downfield. And the Titans are banged up. So
if Stafford was the quarterback, I'd probably say Allen Robinson. He's the wide receiver 1 right now in LA, but it looks like it's going to be John Wolford again. I kind of like Allen Lazard. Oh, that's the new halftime sound, Anthony.
Wow,
okay, I'm going to quickly answer this. I think that this game, maybe not every game, but this game, the Titans secondary is going to have to respect Christian Watson's speed. I think that's going to open up things I mentioned earlier across the middle. I think Lazard is actually going to have a pretty good game. I don't know if he gets in the end zone, but I just feel like he's going to get like 12 targets, maybe get like 8 catches for like 100 yards. So I kind of like Lazard in this game. But I would either Packers wide receiver over Allen Robinson, I think is really the key. All right, so quickly at halftime, Pro Football Demon mentioned on his TikTok, I am getting close to 1,000 followers on TikTok. As soon as I am, we can do double duty. We can do live on TikTok, and we can continue to do our weekly show on Thursday for YouTube answering your questions. So go follow Legit Football on TikTok. We're putting out daily content, injury updates, team updates, game picks, power rankings, all that stuff. And, of course, go to legitfootball.com and sign up for our free newsletter if you haven't already. Rich, what do you have to say to the people tonight?
Check me out on all my socials. Check me out on Instagram, Twitter. Trying to really grow Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. So if you guys would be so kind as to follow me on those platforms, that'd be phenomenal. And give Legit Football a follow, like Brian said. He's over here. This is your one-stop shop for everything football related. If you don't listen to the rankings show that he does with Jimmy Ray with NFL stats, that's phenomenal. Taylor Kern. What's the name of his
Cold Hard Football Facts?
Cold Hard Football Facts.
Yeah.
If you're into betting on the games against the spread, this guy knows everything. He's phenomenal. So Brian gives you everything you need to know, including the comedy. He's got the comedy relief here too, so he's covered all his bases.
We try to be well rounded here. If you're watching this for the first time, guys, go ahead and like and subscribe to either channel, Pro Football Demon or the Legit Football YouTube channel, so we can keep doing this for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and roll into the second half. Once again, our producer, Anthony Wayner, super happy that his Lions have won 2 games in a row. He's behind the scenes. He's got the timer going. And let's go ahead and jump into the second half. We've got about 50 questions that we haven't got to yet. So I love this. I feel like every week we're getting more and more questions. Thank you guys so much for watching and for putting these questions in. If you're a podcast listener, by the way, this is your opportunity to come on every Thursday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. We do this live. You can ask your question, or you can just listen to everybody else's question. That's fine too. All right, Anthony, go ahead and throw up that timer. Let's jump into the second half. Aiden Barbado says Alan Lazard or Cortland Sutton with a couple of fireworks explosions.
Here, I'm going to go Alan Lazard, without a doubt. All the reasons you mentioned before, the underneath game should be open a little bit, so I love his floor compared to Sutton's.
To give you guys context on this, Lazard specifically, I just traded for him in a dynasty league where I'm 7-3, so very much in the hunt. And Cup, I had Cooper Kupp. So Lazard to me was a nice fill-in replacement for a guy who I think he's actually wide receiver 24, which is that actually blew my mind. I'm like, I don't feel like he's producing. It's because he's trusted by Rodgers and he's going to get targets in a PPR league. So I like Alan Lazard this week in particular. I think you'll see that the middle of the field open up for him. And Cortland Sutton we've talked about. So let's go on. Ryan Campbell, Christian Watson, or Darnell Mooney.
I was going to call you out on that Darryl Mooney
I know, I
thing.
fixed it quickly. You almost got me.
Christian Watson, again, the upside for me. I would it shock me if he had another 3 touchdown game? It wouldn't. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever. I mean, maybe it would, but not by much.
The Bears are playing the Falcons this week, and the Falcons have one of the worst pass secondaries in the NFL, especially without A.J. Terrell in there. And we've seen the Chicago offense has been exciting. They keep losing, but they've been exciting. And Mooney has been a recipient. Cole Kmet has been a recipient of that. I think I'd want Watson on my team long term, but for this week, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go Darnell Mooney. I just think that we're only going to see him go up. Justin Fields all of a sudden has turned into a pretty exciting quarterback. Jamie Jimenez with another question. Should I start Tony Pollard or Damian Pierce? This is an interesting one.
This is interesting. Who are the Texans playing again?
Houston is playing the Washington Commanders.
Washington Commanders. I might go Tony Pollard. I think I'm going to go Tony Pollard.
Cowboys playing the Vikings.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys offense better, and Damian Pierce doesn't really catch passes either.
Correct. Pierce, and they just I don't know how much he'll play this week, but Eno Benjamin was claimed after he was surprisingly dropped by the Cardinals, or waived by the Cardinals. So I think they're bringing him in to be a little bit more of that kind of pass catching back. Pierce is awesome. Pierce is fun to watch. He's in the Nick Chubb mold, right? This is a guy who I think will get to Chubb's level where it doesn't matter that he doesn't catch passes. He's just going to produce on the ground. But Pollard is so explosive. He's evolved in the passing game. We've seen how good he can be by himself as the RB1. Zeke is still not, they haven't said whether he's actually going to play this week or not. I foresee this being a high-scoring game against the Vikings. So, yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Tony Pollard there. All right, we answered that question. We got our first repeat question again. Always love the consistency, guys.
We answered this one, too.
That's repeat. Yep. All right, now we're just seeing the same question. You guys are impatient. All right, here we go. Nope, that's just the same question asked in a different order. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate the creativity. Here we go. SCL Films, Rondale Moore for Jeff Wilson and Curtis Samuel.
I would trade Rondale Moore for Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Samuel's just a bonus at that point.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just move on. Only Bryce Poo. I don't know if that's a good Bryce thing or Poo. I don't know. I'll let you, the
Poo.
Jets fan. Only Brycey Poo. Okay, now I get it. I think Poo, like, poop, whatever.
Clean it up, McFadden.
Clean it up. All right. Start Elijah Mitchell or Kyron Williams.
Elijah Mitchell.
So, two backups there, but yes, we saw Elijah Mitchell, even as the RB2 to CMC, produce and get more carries than him. So I think that's an easy one. Let's keep it rolling. David Lee, Cooper, Olave, Mike Williams, Watson, or Tony.
Ooh,
so Mike Williams, by the way, he is practicing, but there's been no determination if he's going to play. So we should say that up front.
I think it has to be Amari Cooper, though. Kadarius Toney. Man, I love Chris Olave too, but I think I think the safest floor is Amari Cooper, and he could have a nice ceiling too.
So especially that this Bills-Browns game got moved to the Dome, we just saw what the Dolphins offense did to the Browns defense. This Bills team is gonna feast, so that means they're gonna be playing from behind. Both Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones could be in line for big games just because of game script. And we also saw that besides being banged up, a top tier, granted it's Justin Jefferson is on another level, but he just decimated this Bills secondary. So I'm gonna agree because we could see Jalen Ramsey on Olave at times that could limit him. It's still Andy Dalton. Yeah, I'm gonna go Amari Cooper here. All right, Joshua Liebertz with the new question: Dante Foreman or Cordero Patterson?
I'm going Dante Foreman. The Atlanta, I know they're run heavy, but I'm having a hard time trusting Atlanta's offense.
They play the Bears, though. They do play the Bears and that awful defense.
That's true. But we know Dante Foreman is going to get the bulk of the carries. I'm going to go Foreman.
Panthers are playing the Ravens. Okay, I'm going to disagree. I will go Patterson. It's not clear cut. I can certainly see the argument for starting Foreman. Foreman has been great, except for the game against the Bengals, which they were just getting trounced and nobody played well in that game. Cordell Patterson, we saw his first game back, 2 touchdowns. Last week against the Panthers was a bit of a surprise, but I think to get back on track against a bad Bears defense, I'm going to go Cordell Patterson there. Lil Z again, start Mahomes or Lamar?
I'm starting with Mahomes over Lamar every week.
Yeah, I'm not benching Mahomes for anybody right now. Maybe Justin Fields, just because of that insane rush. But even so, I don't think I could justify benching Mahomes. We haven't seen the super high-end production from Lamar. He's been consistent. He's been a good fantasy quarterback, but he hasn't been like an elite fantasy quarterback. So I am agreeing, start Mahomes. David Morazzo, nice to see you on the earlier show with 49ers Rush and now here. Foreman or James Robinson at flex?
I'm starting Foreman because we don't know what James Robinson's involvement is going to look like. He featured heavily more towards the end of the Jets Bills game, but Michael Carter is the RB1 right there, and Robinson's going to mix in. So
correct, yeah, it's all about opportunity. We know Foreman is the RB1. We know he can have a game where he'll get 20 plus carries. We don't know if that with James Robinson. Maybe he'll get an end zone carry, a goal line carry. Maybe he'll have a few passes, but he's still RB2. So I agree, go Foreman. Patrick Marin, pick 2. DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson.
Wow. In this situation, I would have a hard time starting DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson because I've talked about Christian Watson's upside this game. I'm a believer in it. It could blow up in my face. And I also like Brandon Ayuk better than both those other situations. I like his situation better. Yeah. So I would go Watson and Ayuk. Watson because of the upside and Ayuk because of the situation.
Situation and the matchups as well. Ayuk, a better matchup against the Cardinals secondary than Deontay Johnson has against the Bengals. Braden Goodell, Olave, Cooper, Sutton. Oh, that he was answering. So we got people answering other people's questions. All right.
Awesome.
If you're patient, guys, we will get to your question, but I always appreciate you guys chipping in as well. Aiden Barbado, Kyle Pitts, or Robert Tonyan?
Man. I think I'm out on Kyle Pitts right now until I see a little more consistency. That 3-point weeks are killing me. So it's not like Tonyan has been phenomenal, but we know Aaron Rodgers trusts him, and Aaron Rodgers is way more capable than Marcus Mariota. So I'd go Tonyan.
Yeah, and the Bears have not been horrible against tight ends. They've just been horrible against everything else. So that's something. And we talked about opening up the middle of the field. That could benefit Robert Tonyan too. The Christian Watson effect there against a Titans secondary that's susceptible to it and that's really injured. Like the whole Titans defense is injured. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Joshua Lieboris at flex. Who should I pick this week? Alan Lazard, Christian Watson, or
we answered this.
Yeah. I hope you're still on, Joshua. I feel like the third or fourth time you've asked this question. I hope you take our advice, and I hope that it gets you that must win this week.
We answered this too.
Repeat again. Here's a new one. Austin Nutter, Curtis or Burks? So Curtis Samuel or Treylon Burks?
Oh, man. I'd probably go Curtis Samuel.
We don't. That whole Titans pass game is. I mean, nobody would have predicted Westbrook Akine to score 2 touchdowns last week. I'm staying away for it. Pick one: Brian's beard or Rich's hair. I think it's opposite.
Yeah, Takaido.
Do I want a beard or does he want my hair? Is that the question?
I'll
supposed to answer? Okay. I'll take my hair too. I can just grow a beard if I want to. All right, Takeda, there you go. It's still not Jets related. I don't know what that says.
It's not.
I'm sure we'll still get something. Just real quick. We both agree Curtis Samuel is the way to go here. Gate Creeper, who is going number 1 in the draft? So I don't know if you have an opinion on the player. I certainly can make my prediction for what team I think will have number 1.
Yeah, I haven't paid too much attention to draft prospects right now. The team could be Houston or Detroit, right?
No, Lions have won 2 in a row. They're not in the mix for it. It's basically the 2 teams at the bottom are like the Raiders, maybe the Panthers.
I don't think it'll be the Raiders.
The Texans.
Yeah.
But actually, the Raiders don't have their first round pick, so it would be the Packers if the Raiders end up there. But I picked Houston earlier today. This was actually, we did a mid-season awards segment on John's show for 49ers Rush, and I picked Houston to get the number 1 overall pick. As far as which players, I've said this in previous episodes, Rich is with me. I don't study prospects until draft time. I'm so consumed with the NFL, I don't even have time to watch college football games. So I don't know. There's a bunch of quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud, we'll throw that name out there for fun. All right, Will Levis in Kentucky. I've heard some of the names. Matt Stir 134. Should I start Aaron Jones or Nick Chubb?
Is this a start 1 RB league? Wow. I would start Nick Chubb.
That's a good question. Like, what?
Yeah.
Do you not have a flex? Like, maybe this is a DFS question. I like Nick Chubb this week. The Bills are susceptible to the run. We just saw Dalvin Cook run all over them. That's their only source of reliable offense. I think the Browns and Stefanski will come out trying to control the clock early, so I think you'll see some Chubb production early. The Dolphins did a good job of shutting Chubb down last week, and he still busted a touchdown run later in the game. It's very hard to keep him down. Aaron Jones, I get a feeling Rodgers is going to light up the Titans tonight. I just think it's going to be one of those games. We can get to the prediction, but because we never spend much time on it, I'll go ahead and say I'm picking the Packers to win and to cover. So I feel like Aaron Jones, the pass catchers will have a bigger benefit to that. So I'm going to say Nick Chubb.
Yeah. And I agree with the Packers, too. I think the Packers are going to win.
Do we get a question from our producer?
Wow, look at this.
Oh, look at Anthony trying to get his good for you. Anthony, just because you're the producer doesn't mean you can't get your fantasy questions asked. Yeah. This is our producer, guys, Anthony Weiner. So go follow him on YouTube. I don't even know if he puts any content out.
I like that he asked the question and he started also to make sure you saw it.
Good call. Oh, that is a top-notch producer right there.
Yeah.
When will Nyheim Hines be a start? Or should I stick with Chase Edmonds, both RB2? So we got two running backs on different teams now. Nyheim Hines now on the Buffalo Bills. Chase Edmonds on the Denver Broncos.
I don't know when Nyheim Hines will be a start because they're using James Cook a little more, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but James Cook to me is an elite receiver, and he's way more explosive than Nyheim Hines. I don't think they traded for Nyheim Hines.
But between these two guys, so we've got one is a Bronco and one is a Bill. That's what is guiding my answer here. Go with the better offense, like at the end of the day.
I guess so, but Edmonds might get more opportunity in that Broncos backfield, though. Is I guess what I was getting to.
But Latavius Murray's getting opportunities in there. Mike Boone will be back soon. I don't know. Edmonds hasn't shown anything special so far.
I don't think either of these guys are going to move a needle for you, though.
No, they're not. They're not. Which is why I'm like, at the end of the day, if neither of these guys really moves the needle, go with the higher octane offense, just because there'll be more opportunities to score.
Yeah.
All Nyheim Hines needs to do is catch a pass in the flats in the red zone from Josh Allen and take it in for a touchdown. That is more likely to happen to me than Chase Edmonds to score with Russ in Denver.
And he has been targeted. I mean, it wasn't heavily whatsoever, but he has been targeted.
We have seen a target go to Nyheim Hines in Buffalo. Kudos to you again, Anthony, getting that question in there. I love that. I am Barkley, Devin Duvernay, or Allen Robinson this week?
I'm going Duvernay. I'm out on the Rams, especially with Stafford out, and I like Duvernay's boom bust potential. I like his potential to boom more so than I like Allen Robinson's.
I think that's it too. Because I'm not crazy. And once again, Stafford is probably not going to be playing quarterback. I might feel differently than Duvernay. Go chase the ceiling. Yeah. Chase the opportunity for him to get 75 yards and a touchdown against the Panthers. I'm going to agree with you there. Jackson Cooling, trade Swift for Zeke and Kadarius Toney.
I might do this only because of Swift's. He's injury. I don't like to use injury prone, but the guy's injury prone.
Who else do you have a running back, though? I would want to know that, because Zeke wasn't producing all that well before he got injured. Besides the fact that he's coming back from an injury, they've now seen what Pollard can do by himself. Does Zeke really just run right back into that RB1? So I'm concerned about his opportunity. Kadarius Toney is very enticing. I want to know, Jackson, who else you have at running back? Rich, right?
Yeah,
Let us know. Anthony, if you see that come up, you can pop it up. Let's see. John Kelly, how can I make my team better? I wish that was just a question. No. Thank you, John, for giving us context. I have Mahomes, Barkley, Eckler, DeAndre Hopkins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cole Kmet, Cordero Patterson, James Conner, and Keenan Allen, 12-man PPR.
I think he's just bragging at this point.
I was going to say, that looks like a pretty stacked roster. What's your record, John? Let us know that. Are you like 9-1? And you're like, how can I have not lost that single game? Yeah. Which, good for you, and stop bragging. Okay. But no, John, feel free to throw us,
you're thinking of a trade or something.
If you were just bragging, own it. Just say, you know what, guys, I just wanted to show off my team. But yeah, that looks, what is Eckler's number one? All right, back to Jackson Cooling. I have Ramondre and Dalvin Cook. This is when he wanted to trade Swift for Zeke and Toney. I think I would do that.
Yeah, I think I would.
Forget Zeke. Whatever. He's a nice level replacement. Step down, but Kadarius Toney, when you have Ramondre, I like that.
Yeah, and again, Swift he's got that injury prone thing. You just lose him for the year, and now you can just turn him into somebody who can be a high upside play.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Once again, John, let us know some context here. Let us know if you were just bragging, because that looks like a pretty stacked team to me. I wish my team looked like that. Jay Rivera, should I trade Swift for Garrett Wilson? I have Jamal Williams, Chase, and Sutton. So I want to know Chase, who's still injured for another few weeks.
Because you have Jamal Williams and you still have a piece of that Lions offense, I would do this. I'm a Jet fan, so maybe you can call me a homer, but I think Garrett Wilson is such a fluid receiver, and he's great. He's great.
Yeah,
they don't pass a lot, but if you can get a high upside player like that for DeAndre Swift when you still have a piece of that offense, I think you could. I think you can get more than Garrett Wilson, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I think so. I think Swift still has that name brand, even though he hasn't produced as well because he's been injured. But even if you couldn't, I'd probably still do this straight up. Pair him, let him help you fill the gap. And when Chase comes back, you got Chase and Garrett Wilson. That's a nice little combo.
And really drive home the point that the Jets are more of a run-heavy team, and Zach Wilson's not that great. He doesn't target guys. They don't, do that, and you can probably get another piece.
That's right. Bump the trade value down. That's smart. Mixed softball 20, Herbert or Geno?
I think you have to go Herbert just because he's Justin Herbert.
Geno also, I'm guessing this is rest of season because the Seahawks are on bye this week after their game in Munich. So let's just assume that this is rest of season.
Rest of the season, I'm still going with Justin Herbert because we've seen that ceiling.
Right, and he's gonna get Mike Williams back, and he's gonna get Keenan Allen back at some point. And Geno's been great. Look, but Geno does not have close to the ceiling that Herbert does. And if Herbert actually uses that mobility and rushing ability as well, that just adds to it. All right, we got just over 10 minutes left, and we have 30 questions still so we're going to try to speed it up a little, guys. We don't like missing your questions. So T-Mini 101, Diggs for Evans, Christian Kirk, and Fournette. So
I don't think I'm doing
one for three.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing this. I do like Christian Kirk. They've been using him a lot. Mike Evans with Brady is nice, but it's still Stephon Diggs. And Fournette is losing carries to Rashad White. I think I would hold on to Diggs.
I love 1 for 3s. If you get 3 starters, I don't know if Fournette's a starter at this point. I'd love to know who else you had at running back. Evans and Kirk is actually not bad value for Diggs because Evans, I think we're going to see that resurgence that he was producing amongst those Bucs wide receivers, even with the Bucs playing bad. Now that they seem to have turned a corner, I like that. Kirk is getting tons of volume from Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville.
Now Buffalo.
See if you can get a better running back in that. Yeah. See if you can get a better running back than Fournette, and then I would say yes.
But Buffalo is going to be. They want to win that division. They don't. I mean, they know they're going to make the play, but they want to win that division. So I think they're going to be chucking the ball. I think you can see some big weeks from Diggs.
After 2 losses in a row, I think in a dome, not in the snow, those Browns team is going to get destroyed. Just throwing that out there. Jay Dragon coming back to us. What players do you think are going to retire after this year, and what players do you see stepping up into starting roles next year?
Well, because we were talking about Leonard Fournette and Rashad White, I think Rashad White, and we're seeing him start to take over that backfield now. If you're in a dynasty or keeper league, it'd be nice to have on your roster. It might be a little too late at this point, but I've been beating that drum for a little while. I think he's one of my favorites going into next year, taking over a role.
Yeah.
Starting role.
First of all, let's get the quarterbacks out of the way on the retirement front. I think Brady retires. I mean, he already has.
I don't think he does.
You don't think he does?
I think he joins McDaniels in Vegas if they get rid of Derek Carr.
I don't know. I think Rodgers retires too. I just think at the turmoil he's put up with this year, dealing with all the rookies, and so that's what I'm thinking. So on the retirement front, we'll just get those 2 QBs out of the way. As far as players stepping up, I like Nico Collins. He's already kind of showing it. They're going to have a rookie quarterback. I think the Texans, even if they don't have the number 1 overall draft, they'll have an exciting rookie quarterback. Brandon Cooks, I don't know how long he plans on staying in Houston. He doesn't seem to be happy there, but he's also getting a little older. Nico Collins is somebody you want to have on your radar, especially in Dynasty. I say that, I just traded him away, but I got a lot in return for a championship run this year, including Tony Pollard, so I'm excited about that. And I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I've been high on him for a while now. We're starting to see some consistency. He's a deep threat. He's got an amazing catch radius, good 50-50 guy. And Deshaun Watson is, he will be the quarterback QB1 next year. So I like those 2 guys. Keep them on your radar as guys who I think will finally make the leap. All right, Mr. Squishy 79. Pick 2 running backs to start. David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco, or Brian Robinson?
Montgomery, the Khalil Herbert IR situation is there. And Brian Robinson, for all the reasons you said before. That's a great matchup.
Correct. I will agree with that. Montgomery and Robinson. Mr. Squishy was smart. He added multiple questions in the same comment. Pick 2 wide receivers, Darnell Mooney, Justin Jefferson, or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And then he says pick a remainder for flex. So I'm just taking all three
Justin
of those
Jefferson
guys.
should not be in.
Yeah.
Like
Any question.
There's
ever.
never a scenario where you're sitting Justin Jefferson. So between Mooney and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
But I'm taking Amon-Ra over Mooney, but I think I'm going to flex out Mooney.
Yeah. I would do the same thing. Put both of those guys. Don't start Pacheco, I think, is at the end of the day. Diego D, also Allen or Fields, and Pacheco or Gibson.
Was that part of an earlier question?
It looks like these questions are out of order. Okay. We'll start with this one, Diego D. Christian Watson or Gabe Davis?
Christian Watson. That upside.
I'm going to go Gabe Davis this week. Like I said, I think this Bills team is going to slaughter this Browns team. I think they're going to be pissed after losing 2 in a row. And the fact that they get to play in a dome is, so I just like Gabe Davis is going to score a touchdown. Watson, can he really score another one after 3 last week?
I think McKenzie is a sneaky good play this week.
I like the whole anybody on the Bills team. And then he put also Allen or Fields and Pacheco or Gibson. So we'll start with the quarterback.
I'm going to go Justin Fields over Josh Allen just because, I mean, the guy's setting records rushing the ball. That floor is so high.
You can't sit Fields right now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And Pacheco or Gibson, again, because of the matchup, Antonio Gibson.
Yep, I agree. Let's keep it rolling. Tegan Slink, Keenan Allen, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Rondale Moore?
Donovan Peoples-Jones. Keenan Allen might not play, and Rondale Moore.
And for the same rate, Cleveland's going to get crushed. They're going to need to throw the ball. And Donovan Peoples-Jones has had, I think, 4 or 5 weeks in a row of double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah,
this guy he's been consistent, and he's got the talent to do even more. And he hasn't been doing it by getting in the end zone. So he adds a touchdown to that, and you've got a really nice week coming. Joshua Leibowitz, if Christian Watson goes off this week, as Rich is predicting like 17 times on this show, should I trade him while he's worth a lot? I have Mike Evans and DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver, Lazard or Cordero Patterson at flex.
It depends on what you can get for him, but yeah, you can sell him high. If this is Dynasty, I would probably hold on to him unless somebody's willing to give you a ton. But I would do that because you have a pretty solid receiving core there. Lazard or Patterson at flex. I might go Cordero Patterson because I'm not a believer in Allen Lazard this week.
Patterson RB1 against who the fuck Bears. Go Patterson. Trade Christian Watkins. You have Evans and Hopkins. You're not going to start Watson over those two guys anyway. All right, just 4 minutes left. We still 33 questions. The questions went up. They keep coming. Let's try to do some rapid fire stuff here. Young boy Fetrat. Should I trade AJ Brown for Alvin Kamara and Tony Pollard?
If you are fine at receiver and you can grab 2 running backs like that, absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. 2 stud running backs. If you have the depth at receiver, I'm going to agree with you there. Diego D, we already did this one. Bob King, will Belichick get the Patriots to the playoffs?
It's going to be a tall order because that offense is struggling. Their defense hasn't even looked that great. So I'm going to
Aren't
say
they winning
no.
the Super Bowl in 2024? Didn't you do a skit about the?
Well, that's next year. Yeah, that's when McDaniels
that's right.
and Brady go back.
There you go. It is. They're last place in the AFC East right now. That AFC is stacked. We've seen that. So I'm going to say, no playoffs for the Patriots. Yes. All right. VK9812X, should I start Garrett Wilson or Rondale Moore with Hollywood back?
Garrett Wilson.
Agreed. Christopher Morabito, Jacobs, Olave, and Mark Andrews for Justin Jefferson and Christian Kirk.
Oh, man, I love getting Justin Jefferson. Christian Kirk's been phenomenal. But you're talking about a starter in 3 different spots. You better be pretty solid.
The second best tight end in the NFL, not just a starter there.
Yeah. So I'm probably not doing this.
If I have a really good tight end, like a high upside tight end, like a Cole Kmet, then I would probably do it. Otherwise, even with Justin Jefferson, you're giving up really, really good players there, and overall that could make your team worse. Greg N, Pollard for Lockett. My running backs are Kamara, Foreman, Pollard, and Cordero. So he would be left with Dante Foreman, Alvin Kamara, and Cordero Patterson if he trades Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I would do this.
Yeah,
pretty
agreed.
Stacked at running back.
Lockett is consistent, top 15 wide receiver in fantasy right now. CTG, Ramondre for Walker or Jacobs?
Get Kenneth Walker all day long if you can. Yeah.
Yep, 100% agree, slam dunk. Deadly, who should I aim to trade for with Ayuk and Pollard. Who should I aim to trade for with Ayuk and Pollard? I'm not sure.
It's always tough. It's always tough to answer those questions because we don't know what you need, who you have in mind, or something like that. We're just picking players.
Sorry, Deadly. We have to keep it rolling. We got 28 questions left in here. CTG, we already did that one. Takado, does Sue make the Philly defense better?
It definitely doesn't make it worse.
So. I was gonna say, it doesn't make it worse. They got that other defensive tackle, name slipping right now. So the Eagles are just freaking stacked. They're rolling for the Super Bowl here. So yes, good move by them. Joshua,
this one.
Yes, we answered this one. Loco, shout out Loco Monkey Sports. Pickens, Foreman, or Watson at flex?
I'm going Foreman because he's a running back. He's got the safer floor, could have a high ceiling. But man, I love Watson this week. I do. So, but I'm going to go Foreman.
I'm even more excited to watch this Packers game tonight to see what Christian Watson does for Rich's sake. But yes, also going to go Foreman. Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave?
Chris Olave.
Go with Olave there. Takado, is the Lions D better than the Cowboys? The Packers only got 9 versus the Lions.
No, the Lions defense is not better.
No, nice try, Takado. Yeah. Ethan Decker, Peoples-Jones or Antonio Gibson at flex?
I think I'm going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I am too. Yeah. I like Gibson. I love the matchup, but I like Peoples-Jones this matchup, this game too, and no further context. _Yesa. Should I trade Foreman and Curtis Samuel for Alvin Kamara?
Yes, you're getting an upgraded.
Yeah. Samuel isn't adding a lot to you right now, and there's a huge upgrade at running back. That's a yes. Big Iguana. Nice name. Start Lazard or Foreman?
Foreman and Fields.
Foreman and Fields. Yep, agree with you there. Austin Nutter, Cortland Sutton or Gus Edwards or Alan Lazard, non-PPR.
I'm probably going to go Gus Edwards.
Yes, non-PPR, agreed. Go Gus Edwards there. Let's see, 507. Do you want to do like a few more of these?
Yeah, I'll do as many as you want.
All right. I want to watch this game, so I don't want to miss
so do I.
like 10 minutes. Let's do 5 more minutes. Anthony, if you can put 5 more minutes on there, we'll get to as many of these as we can. We still have over 20 questions, which is why I'm calling this audible here and throwing 5 minutes, guys.
Such a good guy. Look at this.
Really appreciate your questions. That we have so much fun doing this. Wish we could get to all of them every time. All right, let's keep it rolling. We already did that one. Shardul Joshi, do you think Kyler is going to play, or should I pick up Rodgers and play him before today's game?
You would have more info on Kyler's injury, but I don't think
he returned to practice today, but we put in Legit Football today that he's leaning towards not playing. Put onto the fact that I think Rodgers is going to have a big game. Yes, go pick up Rodgers. Jordan Conlon, should I start Kyron Williams or Pacheco? I think that was a question from earlier. Yeah, no, it was Kyron over someone else. So
you're starting Pacheco.
Start Pacheco. Yeah. Russ or A-Rod? I'm
starting Rodgers over Russ.
Yes, start everybody over Russ. Even Derek Carr. Kadarius Toney, this is from Lewis C1469. Kadarius Toney or McLaurin, please help.
Ooh, McLaurin I think is safer. But man,
it depends on who's quarterback.
Right.
I think it'll be Heineke, and Heineke loves McLaurin. McLaurin is so much better with Heineke in. So let's assume it's Heineke. I'm going to go McLaurin there. Tony's spicy, but McLaurin is just a solid wide receiver one. Devtro, Russ, A-Rod, or Heineke?
Probably still A-Rod.
Yeah, go Rodgers. Yeah. Dustin Meyer, would you do Alvin Kamara for Ramondre Stevenson?
I think I would. Yeah.
Really? Okay, interesting.
I think I would. I mean, he's Alvin Kamara. We've seen him. The chances of him putting up a 40-point week are much higher than Ramondre Stevenson's.
I guess I misinterpreted it. Like, I would want to keep Kamara. I don't want Stevenson between.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I thought he meant he's trading away Kamara to get Stevenson.
I thought he was getting
Kamara. Whatever. Go Kamara. Whatever the correct order is, go Kamara. Lazy. Do I put in DJ? But that's the name. I didn't just shout out Lazy for those that are just listening podcast. Do I put in DJ Moore over Gabe Davis, Ayuk, or Tyler Boyd? No.
I'm not putting in DJ Moore.
Over none of those guys.
Yeah.
Devtro again. How should I prepare for life after Cooper Kupp?
Pray that you have the depth to fill that spot.
Yeah. Trade him if you can try to entice somebody who's going on a title run. and trade for a receiver like an Allen Lazard type, like a guy who's primed to come up big, especially with the emergence of Christian Watson.
I've seen Isaiah McKenzie on a lot of waiver wires. I mean, I think he can have a nice upside going forward.
That could be spicy. If for some reason Peoples-Jones is still available out there, or Nico Collins, one of those guys, go for that. Jordan Conlon, if you have time, would you trade Justin Jefferson? He's so polite. If you have time, would you trade Justin Jefferson for ETN and Kenneth Walker? My other running backs are Najee and Mostert. Still have Lockett and Olave.
There aren't many scenarios where I would trade Justin Jefferson, but in this one, I absolutely would.
Yeah, Najee, we've seen Mostert now with Jeff Wilson there. Etienne and Kenneth Walker, you're getting legit top 10 running backs there. So yes, I agree. I would do that trade. Larson Heights, should I give Herbert for Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, and Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, I mean, Herbert hasn't. Yeah, why not?
Might as well. All personal stuff aside, Deshaun Watson could end up being a top 10 quarterback. I don't know if that's Aaron Rodgers or Amari Rodgers. Let's assume it's Aaron Rodgers.
It's got to be Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron, he could have some good games ahead of him. And Pitts, why not? Throw the dart. He's hurt us enough already this season. Might as well keep trying. Sintoast, Kenneth and Amon-Ra for Dalvin and Olave.
Man, I'd have such a hard time giving up Kenneth Walker. I don't know that I would do this. And Amon-Ra is money when he plays.
This is tough. This is pretty even. Just for the sake of us disagreeing, because we haven't disagreed much this episode, I'll go Dalvin. I feel like he's finally starting to come on. He's had some big games recently. And Olave, Amon-Ra, there's not a huge difference between the two right now. So, yeah, I'll go Dalvin. I'm a Florida State guy. Dustin Meyer, would you do AK for Stevenson? We already answered that earlier. Yes, keep AK, whichever side keeps Alvin Kamara. We did that one. Larson Heights, we did that one. Jorge Lazaro, Hill, CMC, and Njoku. So Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, and David Njoku for Kelsey, Devontae Adams, and Alvin Kamara. This is a spicy trade.
You should call the cops on the Kelsey side because they took you for a ride, I think. You're getting Kelsey over Njoku. Now, I know you're getting Tyreek Hill. You're giving up Tyreek Hill, but you're getting Devontae Adams and Alvin Kamara over CMC, in my opinion, because he's going to see the ball more. So,
this is kind of... I think I would give it to the Kelsey side because Kelsey's such a big upgrade over Njoku. Kelsey's a big upgrade over every tight end not named Mark Andrews right now. All right. One more question. I'm glad I saw this. I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions, guys. But we got to end it with Takado asking Tua or Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Oh, look at that. I love it. I don't know if you can sleep at night with that answer, but good for you.
I'll call you later and give you my real answer.
My Dolphins are winning. Yes, obviously I'm going to go to Takado. Thank you as always for making us laugh. And thank you guys so much for all of your questions. If there were a few in the chat we didn't get to, I apologize. I can't even blame this one on Anthony. I feel like we got more questions tonight than we ever have. Keep them coming. Get in early. Follow me on TikTok so maybe you can get your question answered on TikTok. As soon as I hit 1,000, I can go live with Rich. So follow Legit Football on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube. Every Thursday night we're doing this. Rich, I'm ready to go watch some Aaron Rodgers, Packers beat up on some Titans. I picked the Packers to win and cover. What about you?
I picked the Packers to win and cover. We're not going to be doing it next Thursday night, but maybe Friday. We'll see. But
we will do something. Yeah, we will do something. We'll discuss and we'll make sure to let you guys know in advance. Obviously, we're not going to do it on Thanksgiving. But that's it. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow, do all that fun stuff. We will see you sometime next week. This has been 30 Minutes of Football with Legit Football. Enjoy the game. That's spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo on there could be a benefit, but have they kind of burned that bridge?
We'll say this. Gardner Minshew is the best backup in the NFL.
I love Gardner.